Oh, hey, what's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast.
Not so secret invasion.
Thank you,
episode 33.
A show
where we are.
Go ahead.
where we talk about movies, TVs, comics, scrolls, and
Your mama.
Your mom.
one of your mamas.
Yeah, we won't.
And all the
reveal
other
who.
things that scratch your nerdy itch.
We're coming to you live from the.
Video Content Factory, a bomb-ass production space in Philadelphia, PA.
Yeah, look at that. I'm your scrolly host, Johnny Destructo, he being of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at.
That's 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a super rad comic shop, which
That's right.
caters to
Nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes, sizes, and scents.
Yes, you are allowed or rejected entry based off of odor.
Your stank.
Yeah. If you don't have one, get out.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
If
true.
there's no smell,
Yeah.
no thank you.
I'm like Daredevil. I won't even know you're there.
No smell, no service.
That's right. Also,
Shoes optional.
with me this week is Noel
Hey.
and
Brian Lieb.
that's you goddamn right.
Thank you.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
Hello.
Shut up, Dylan. Before we get into tonight's discussion, we'd like to thank you all for being here and commenting and liking and subscribing and hitting the bell icon so that you know that we're going live and doing all that nasty, dirty stuff.
Ding.
Like Robert Monroe Jr. is doing up here in the chat. He says, hey, Colts Poppers, just watched Secret Invasion episode 2.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
We'll talk about it later, but agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Let's go.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. So we don't have any emails this week. I thought for sure someone would respond to our question of last week being, what sequel is better than the original? But F you guys, I don't even care.
I think-
it doesn't even hurt my feelings a little bit. It's fine.
That's
Well,
great.
we did get mild correspondence from one of our co-hosts that's not here tonight.
Oh, Randy.
We did. But I think also Robert Monroe Jr. mentioned something last week.
Well, he's gonna
He
have to
didn't
mention
email
it
in,
again.
but if
Mention
you want
it
to say it
again,
'Cause
again.
we didn't do the.
I didn't take a screenshot of that.
What did Randy say?
Randy had mentioned. Oh, so there's two questions here. What does he think is his the genre sequel that's better than the original?
Yep.
And what sequel does he desperately would want to see? So we can guess that. That's Man of Steel.
It's Man of Steel 2. That's not a
Yes,
guess.
Yeah.
That's it's
He mentioned it last
100%
week.
fact.
Yeah.
But his favorite sequel that was better than the original was Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
It's a good sequel.
Do you concur, Doctor?
I do think it's better than the first one. Yeah.
Professor?
I also concur.
I also concur.
Oh my God, that's three votes.
Three
To
concurrences.
stay on
Yeah.
the island.
Yeah, he stays on the
The
island.
Winter Soldier stays on the island.
The Winter
Yeah.
Soldier stays
Randy's
on
out,
the
bro.
island. Yeah.
So, Noel, do you want to kick us off with your favorite sequel, which is better than the one before it?
Kick us off of the island.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite sequel that's better than the original is not only do I think it's better than the original, I think that it's one of the best movies of the last 10 years, if not the last.
God help me if you say fast anything.
No, it's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, wonderful.
It's legitimately one of the best movies that has happened in the 2000s.
It is very Fast and Furious, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both of those.
Mad Max Fury Road, if you've never seen it, it is a movie that is just, it's transcendental in its everything. And
Yeah.
like its layers. Have you never seen it?
Coming.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh.
it's
I
a
want to see both
feminist
of them.
movie.
That's what
It's
I've heard.
a
Charlize Theron.
hardcore
Right?
action
Charlize
movie.
Theron.
It's
Yeah.
technically perfect.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
They filmed 300 hours worth of like footage.
Yeah.
And then edited it down to an almost near perfect. No, just a perfect 2-hour movie.
I will warn you, it's a chase movie.
Thank you for warning me
It's
about
the whole thing's a chase movie.
We've discussed
Why-
chase movies many times.
Yeah.
You have?
And you know that while I like them, I like to know that it's a chase
Yeah.
movie
Whoa.
going into it.
Yeah.
Right? And I
Is
feel like
this a
you've
bit?
heard that. Yes. This
Okay.
never happened.
This is a bit.
This is
This
is a bit.
Katie and I
Look,
may have
I-
discussed chase movies, but I don't recall.
I every once in a while there's a information that gets offloaded
Yeah.
from my brain.
Oh, sure,
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
It's-
I didn't know if this was one of those things where like, did I forget that
No,
he's
not
got
at
a
all.
weird thing about chase,
Chase
movies?
That always
Yeah.
reminds me of
can't
the
think of another
Simpsons
one.
bit. Speaking of bits, the Simpsons bit where Marge and Homer are having a conversation, and Marge says something like, I think Homer says something like, "Oh, every time I learn something new, I forget something old." And remember that remember that time I took that home winemaking course and forgot how to drive? Homer, you were drunk. And how? I'll never not love that bit.
It's an excellent bit.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brian.
What's happening with you?
You know what's happening with you, buddy?
Hey, in regards to what sequel I think would be the best, or
I mean, if you want to pin it down, sure.
What is the best sequel? The best sequel.
What's the best sequel?
yeah, I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
This is what I think. I'm gonna go with Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. But it was so I had Wrath of Khan, Voyage Home, Spider-Man 2, X-Men 2, Superman 2.
Oh, all good ones.
Those are the 5 that
Oh.
I'm like, what's the best? And at another moment, I might just pick another one of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are my 5. But if we, Voyage Home, but I haven't seen it in like 25
I don't
to 30
even know
years.
which one the Voyage Home
That's the one with the
is.
whales.
It's
The
one with
whales!
The
I saw that
whales.
in the theater.
We just saw Wrath of Khan, and it was great. So I almost went with that because
Yeah.
I've seen it much more recently and liked it again. But yeah, it was a great movie. It was fun.
It had a message.
I don't remember it that well.
Something about eat the whales.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Whaling is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whaling is fun.
They
Whale
needed to
harder.
bring- they had to have whales in the future
it's
because they
actually
couldn't whale anymore.
Star
Yeah,
Trek
yeah.
full.
Yeah.
Star Trek 4. Whale harder.
We need to save these whales so that we
To
can
hunt
whale them
them.
later.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird departure from most of Star Trek's message.
Oh, hey, JD, what's mine? I'll tell you.
Who?
I forgot. Oh, because Spider-Man 2 was up there. I didn't even think of X2, but goddamn,
Such
that's
a good movie.
Good sequel. Great
So
sequel.
good.
The one I'm going to go with is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Great movie.
Because I was
Yeah.
it's for some reason that's just the one that really stuck with me. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's the fact that it's the first indie. No, I don't think that was the first indie I saw in the theater. But
That was the newest one for a long time for us.
oh, it's so
That's true.
good.
That's
and
true.
it's just the humor is top notch. Everything about the action and the relationship between Indy and his dad, and it's just such a great sequel.
It is a great sequel, and I would not say that X2 is the best. First Class is the best X-Men movie.
He might be right.
The best X-Men movie. Ooh,
Oh well, does Logan count as an X-Men movie, or is that he's an X-Man?
true.
No, I don't think it counts. It's like
Yeah,
the
I
team
think that's a
movies.
Logan
Team
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough call though. First Class and
I think First Class
X2.
is better than X2. First Class,
Yeah.
because of the time period too, it's a little bit. It ages better.
Yeah.
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 That it wasn't involving Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
No, it was.
No.
No, wait, no, it wasn't. Matt, somebody or other.
Matthew Vaughn.
Vaughn, yeah.
Oh, Matthew Vaughn. Oh,
Robert Monroe Jr. is in the chat saying, "I want to see a Galaxy Quest sequel.
Oh,
if
yeah.
any movie deserved one."
That'd be great.
Dot.
What movie?
Yeah.
I
it's-
mean, you left the
Unrelated
sentence
thoughts. Yeah.
unfinished.
Have you guys seen Galaxy Quest?
Oh.
It's such a good movie.
so good.
Yeah.
I had no interest in that movie,
Sure.
and then I
Kraftwerk's Hammer.
because I don't care about
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Right.
But boy, is that a fun movie!
It's so good.
Oh, it's great. Really, I giggle fits watching that movie.
It's so fun. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't seen it in years, but I put it on our list to watch.
Please, let's not litigate this, Robert Monroe Jr.
dude,
How
it's-
did that one mutant die in First Class if he was supposed to be able to adapt to anything?
It
It makes no sense narratively, I understand, but it was only to articulate the strength of Sebastian Shaw.
I'll
I
tell
hate
you
it.
what,
I
it
hate it
happened
too.
it happened in the comics too,
Yeah.
and then it was later revealed that it just took, I think, a really long time for
Darwin.
his adaptability. Yeah,
Oh, see,
right.
I like that.
So maybe that's what's going on.
It happened in
Robert
when he was
Monroe,
Deadly
let's do that.
Genesis when he was introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was gone for so
Yeah,
long,
yeah.
but it was really he was just yeah.
Took him a while to re.
Yeah, so
set.
He was one of
my
the
head
best.
canon. He's not really dead.
Yeah,
there
he's
you go.
just rebuilding very slowly.
I'll tell you what, Darwin, one of the best late X-Men creations. You know, there's certainly a lot, but he was after even the first wave of new X-Men. And I just always thought it was really cool. He's a cool character.
Ed Brubaker.
Oh yeah,
No, I thought it was Peter David that created him.
Ed Brubaker
Interesting.
wrote
Oh, yeah.
Deadly Genesis. That was the first
Okay.
time I ever read him. I thought that's where that was. Somebody want to
It
double
was a
check
long
us?
time ago.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll double check.
Now, okay, so Brian, while
Yeah.
he's doing homework,
What's going on?
the second part of the question was,
Yeah.
what deserves a sequel that doesn't have one?
Oh, what deserves a sequel that doesn't have
While I
one?
encroach on your
I
personal
didn't
box.
give any space to this.
Oh, it's getting gross. Okay.
Is it?
Oh well. Yeah. It's
All right.
nice.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes it just takes a little while to get over the social kind of negativity about it.
Ed Brubaker and Pete Woods.
Okay, cool.
Go on. Do you have an answer? Because I don't.
No, I mean, what movie would be good that
Doesn't
have
already
a
have
sequel?
one? Everything's got a goddamn sequel.
I have an answer to this
Oh,
question.
hi, Eddie Madison.
Hey, Eddie.
He's saying howdy, y'all.
That's colloquially correct.
Teen Wolf 2 never got a sequel.
So Teen Wolf 3.
Or Teen Wolf 2 Part 2.
And just to be clear, Teen Wolf 2,
Right.
TOO.
2,
Yeah,
Teen Wolf
exactly.
as well.
Yeah,
Teen
that's
Wolf
what I want the third one
also.
to be called.
Yeah,
Teen
yeah.
Wolf as well.
Oh, I would go with also.
Teen Wolf
Teen
also.
Wolf also, yeah.
I like that. Oh,
Yeah.
and then you could write one
Teen
of the
Wolf
letters
S.
inappropriately as a 3, like the S.
Oh, yeah.
Just make it A3LO. People would get it.
Yeah. Nah.
Do a backwards 3. They would do
Just
it.
cause.
So,
Oh,
do you have does anyone have a real answer?
I have a real answer.
No.
Oh.
It's on your fucking shirt.
Oh, shit.
What is it?
Darkman.
Darkman.
Darkman
Oh.
is one of like it's the best. Darkman's just straight up the best. If anyone's not seen it, it is a horror film that is a pastiche of pulp comics from the late 70s. Horror comics from the late 70s, like with the shadow. Like it's fantastic, and they should make a sequel with Liam Neeson current day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's 2 other Darkmans, right?
Yeah, they're direct to video.
They
They're
had
not
because they
sequels
had
to
direct. They had
They're direct to
sequels.
video sequels. I'm talking about an actual theatrical big budget sequel to Darkman.
Seems like cheating a little bit, but all right.
I don't think that's cheating.
A little cheating.
They were literally backdoor pilots to a TV show, and then they were just repurposed.
Did they
as,
do it?
Did they
Yeah.
tell the story? Did they continue the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they were
Durant
TV.
die, Durant die, or die, Darkman die.
They were all TV, like made for TV movies for a TV show. None of the same cast or writers.
Okay.
Wait, that's not true. What's his name? Larry Drake was in one of them.
I don't know. Who oh, right.
Yeah.
Durant. Yeah. Do you have an actual?
I've been trying to think of like what, I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah. What do you got?
You shut up.
What's happening?
Dread.
Oh, all right.
Dread.
3D.
Yeah. Okay.
Jed.
RoboCop 3, amazing.
Oh
Chris
yeah.
Dunn.
Chris Dunn says you're all forgetting the classic sequels like A Medea Halloween 2.
Oh, it's Medea.
Sorry.
Boo!
RoboCop
Medea
3.
Halloween 2. Thank you.
RoboCop 3 and Wonder Woman 84. Ooh, too soon.
It was too soon as it ended.
Eddie, have you seen Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea?
No, but I have seen Lion King 2, Simba's Pride.
I haven't seen any of those. So wait, I'm sorry, I interrupted your answer, which was going to be amazing. What was it?
It,
It was so good. I can't
no
wait.
idea what movie. I feel like. I mean, Man of Steel. I would love to see a sequel to, but
There's so many movies that you haven't even seen the first of.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to pick
The
a
Shadow.
second.
I have also.
Rocketeer.
I did think about The Shadow, and I think that might be. I was really trying to think of like what would be a really interesting story to see what happens later. Whereas The Shadow wouldn't necessarily be that. I just want to see another way cooler. Although I love the first one, Shadow movie.
I would go with Way Cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way Cooler is fine.
Yeah, so I want to see another one of those, but that's just because I want another Shadow movie, not like
How
the
is that
premise,
not enough?
I
That's
guess
all
it
you-
is.
That's it.
That's
it.
enough.
That's it.
I was trying to think of one like
that deserves it,
Like
needs
that
it.
the
No,
world
no.
deserves.
Leonard
you.
Leonard Part
Yeah.
7.
yeah, I haven't seen part 6, but
I would be okay with 1 through 5.
no, I think more like one that the ending of the movie sets up such an interesting premise and world that I want to see more of that story.
Yeah.
Which isn't the case with The Shadow. I just want to see another Shadow movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to think of a lot of like, do I want to see another Dark City or
Ooh.
Annihilation or
see.
yeah.
Dark City was.
I
such
have
a
what
fun
may or
ending,
may not
though.
be a hot
Well,
take.
that's the thing. Yeah, 12 Monkeys maybe.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a sequel to Solo.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'd be down with that.
I think that the first Solo is a pretty fun heist Star
The-
Wars film.
The only Solo.
Yeah.
The soloist Solo.
And so, it seemed like it was set up for a sequel. And all the cool stuff that they've done with Kira in the comic books since then, I've really grown to appreciate her as a character. So I wouldn't mind seeing from in Secret Invasion, Amelia Clark back on the screen in a Star Wars fashion. Yeah. Anyway. So you kind of skip?
Yeah, I
You
just
can
more
skip.
said what I would want out of a sequel.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
don't have anything that
That's fine. You don't.
you know.
have to.
If I think of one, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, just text us later. All right. So we're going to talk about two main topics today.
It's the same.
It's the same. Beep, boop, bop. Gingerly touching their tips. Secret Invasion, the Marvel comic book series
Forcefully touching their tips.
from 2008.
Not too for
Just-
Mashing their tips.
Yeah.
You could break something that way.
And then we're going to talk about the first two episodes of Secret Invasion, the television show, based on the comic book, sort of, not
Kind
really.
of. The name is based on it.
Yeah.
The general conceit.
Yeah, loosely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of
so,
Secret Invasion.
what do we want to talk about first? Do you guys,
It's the comic.
Do we want to talk about the comic first? It's dealer's choice. Talk about the comic first or the show first?
Comic.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Okay. All right. So, Secret Invasion came out in 2008. It was 8 issues. It was written by Brian Michael Bendis at the heyday, the salad days of the Bendis era,
Yeah, it was.
with art by
Lionel.
Francis Yu. I always mess up his first name, so I always look to him. While in the grips of paranoia, Earth's mightiest heroes have to band together to fight off an armada of Skrull ships carrying an army of supercharged alien warriors. Traitors are exposed. Lives are lost. As the shape-shifting zealots lay claim to the planet, and only by compromising their ideals do the heroes stand a chance.
That didn't happen.
Did they compromise their ideals?
No.
Sure.
I don't recall them doing that.
I think their ideals were like, hey, let's beat the Skrulls.
We should beat the Skrulls because they're trying to take over the Earth.
Yeah.
Also, the Skrulls are not traitors. They're just hiding.
They had to-
as other.
No.
Yeah.
Traitors are exposed.
Yeah.
So that
Who was-
there are people in
Yeah.
the Avengers and the surrounding characters
Yeah.
who are exposed as Skrull infiltrators.
Yeah, they're They're not
Traitors.
traitors. They're,
They're,
infiltrators.
That's
I mean,
true.
Wait, to the Avengers, they are traitors, and because they were given trust,
They pretended to
They
be someone
betrayed
else.
their trust.
they're traitors.
I guess they took somebody else's trust.
They're not traitors to the human cause. They're traitors to
No.
the Avengers.
And they're pro
Yeah.
Skrull cause.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that second thing didn't happen.
No, yeah.
Wait,
compromising
compromising
their
their
ideals.
ideals? Yeah, there was a shit ton of mistrust and weird decisions, and then the way that the comic ends. I mean, who's now in charge of the Marvel universe?
Oh, that part's
Right.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
compromised ideals, I think.
So we're going to talk about our initial reactions. I think. Did you read it as it was coming out?
Yes, I did.
Great. We all did. Yes.
Yes, I did.
So we're going to talk about sort of like where we were at the time and how we felt about it at the time, and then
'Cause we're old.
because we reread it this past week
Truth.
for you guys. So Noel, how did you feel about? Was this was about the time that you came back to comics, wasn't it?
Yeah. This was my my foray back in. It was post college, or maybe towards the end of college. And at my 9 to 5, next door was a new comic shop, and it was around the same time as Avengers Disassembled. And I just fell right in and started picking up like old title or picking up titles currently where they were, like you're allowed to do and you're supposed to do in comic books. I just want everybody to know you don't have to start at the beginning. That's
You
kind
just
of
jump in.
That's kind of the point. Like
Yeah.
you could
Can't
jump it.
with some of these, right?
But
You're gonna read
you
1938 to now.
The thing
right,
is, like,
you can't. Yeah.
wait, what?
He's saying you can't start from the beginning.
Oh yeah. No, I'm
Because they're
agreeing.
because some of them have, you can't jump into the
Oh.
beginning of Action Comics.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I'm
he's
agreeing
agreeing
with
with
you.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
It's it's unfeasible. You just pick it up.
Yeah, just
But
fucking grab it, bro.
that continues onto modern comics. A lot of people are like, well, it's issue 28. I can't
No.
unless I spend
Yes, you can.
two
Yeah.
months reading the rest. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. You should be able to just access any point. If you like it, you can go back
Yeah.
and forward at the same time. But either way, I jumped in with fucking. I think the first issue of Avengers I ever read was 497 or something like that. Because it was the beginning of Disassembled. I was like,
Oh, was
yeah,
it?
sure. I was picking up like the trade paperbacks of Ultimate Spider-Man at Barnes and Noble because that was the only like options I had, and then it was
Yeah.
like I followed the name, carried here, and that began my favorite era of Avengers. Just my
Yeah.
favorite era of
Same,
comic books.
Same.
Like-
we were this morning on Fresh Floppies before we recorded Fresh Floppies, our other podcast. We were like, man, that what a great time for Marvel Comics. That Brian Michael Bendis era. You know, I feel like BMB gets a lot of hot shit these days from the internet, and to me, that was like a golden era of Marvel. I loved all the stuff that was coming out then.
Yeah, it was. At the time, a lot of people were complaining for the same reasons that people complain about today, that it was a giant shift from what had been previously, but without. it wasn't a betrayal of the way that the Avengers were characterized or portrayed. It was just a shift. And then he split it into 2 books, and then it literally, it's my favorite era of comic books. And I was a poor ass college student, and I was purchasing the hardcovers to just continuously reread. And that's like, if my entire house burned down, well, if I had to give away my entire collection, let's not go with
because your house was on fire.
Let's not go with the fatalist stuff. Like, my house is on fire.
If you take these,
Save the cats. Save the cats. No, but these books. The hardcover collection I have of Avengers, New Avengers 1 through 7, Civil War, Secret Invasion, Mighty Avengers 1 and 2. Like, this whole era from Disassembled all the way through Siege, I would keep forever. Yeah. Because it was just, it was like the most,
good, right?
it was the most organic that comics have been in a long time. And since, like, because there was, even though there was tons and tons of collaborators, there really was like maybe 3 main people that were running the whole kind of overarching ship. And it was like Brian Bendis and, I mean, I already forgot the other.
Brubaker?
Oh, yeah, it was Brubaker, and Miller was in and out, and Fraction was in and out.
Mark Miller. Yeah, you're right.
So, like, there was a handful of very talented white dudes that were just, like, kind of telling every Marvel story. And it was a cohesion that was really, really great. And this event worked so incredibly well for me as I was reading in issues, because it was, like, 4 years worth of stories culminating,
building up to this.
Like, I forgot a bunch. Rereading this now, I actually forgot about a bunch of like small story points that were like, oh yeah, like this morning I was telling you about like the very first issue of New Avengers kicks off Secret Invasion. Yeah, the issue number 1 of New Avengers kicks off the first scene is Electro being told. Or like being hired to go break everyone out of the raft, which starts New Avengers. It's revealed in a New Avengers issue or a Mighty Avengers issue that was Jarvis Skrull and that he's in the room with that hire him to break out everyone.
Oh, I forgot that.
I forgot that too.
Yeah.
So many wonderful little things. Like the scene in this book where Hank gives Janet the new suit or the new formula. That was an aside in an issue of Mighty Avengers months before. Like, there's so many little like things that they picked up and kicked off over the course of like 4 years.
That's a particularly cool aside too, because it's the kind of thing that happens in comics and that a lot of people like to see in comics, where it's like, oh, now she's got growing powers.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
she's
a
not
reason
just
for
shrinking.
It. Right.
There's so many. I just don't know if this is possible to pull off today.
Right.
Because the nature of the industry and just like of publishing, it's people don't stay on runs that long or have that much autonomy with the entire line of books, let alone just like their one book.
Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis, I think was I don't know who he was engaging with, but like he had the full run of the Marvel universe.
I mean, him and just Quesada gave him trust, I guess. I don't know, but he was kind of running the place for a while, and it became one of my favorite eras. So,
I agree with all of that. My problem with Secret Invasion, I think, was self-imposed because all of the hype for Secret Invasion was like, oh my God, who's a Skrull? All of the possibilities of all the things that could be changed or flipped back or whatever, because
this person never did that kind of thing. Yeah,
Peter, there's this whole hoopla back in the day about not wanting Mary Jane and Peter Parker to be married. Also, they had a kid floating around that we were supposed to forget about. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, a lot of people were talking about like, whoa, this could be, Peter Parker was a Skrull and, he's not actually married and all that other stuff. So I had my sights on bigger reveals. And when I didn't get any of those, I was like, it's Jarvis. Okay. Oh, it's Mockingbird's alive again? I've never read a Mockingbird in my life. I don't really have any emotional connection to that.
And even Hank Pym, who I thought they were undoing the
the slap
wife hitting thing. Yeah.
It's like, no, he did that.
Yeah, he still did that.
Which I'm glad they didn't undo that.
Yeah. That was an accident, apparently.
Yeah, it was it was the artist.
Right.
Yeah. Sort of so Hank Pym out there, anyone who doesn't know, the Ant-Man. Was
Ant-Man and Giant Man at the time.
Wasp.
Yeah.
And was married to the Wasp or at least dating the Wasp.
Yellow Jacket.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, he was Yellow Jacket at the time.
Scientist Supreme.
Yeah. And so he was supposed to be shrugging her off, I think, or something like that. And the artist took that note from the writer and made it look like he was like hitting her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like smacking her
way
wasp
too,
form around
yeah,
the
way,
room.
way too aggressively.
Yeah.
And so now he's a wife beater forever.
Yeah.
Just an interesting side
even though
story.
Reed did the same thing to Sue.
Reed hit Sue.
Peter did the same thing to Mary Jane while she was prego.
When did these things happen?
In comics.
I mean, that one is when that happened. But when did the when did the Reed Richards thing happen?
There's been I mean, I can't tell you the issue number, but there was
could
a
tell
bunch
me.
of like 7. 7.
You can
Okay,
confide
cool.
in me.
Yeah. Yeah. You fucking asshole. No, there was that he just like he's incredibly abusively
Yeah.
talks to her and like
Yeah.
calls her an ass or an idiot in so no uncertain
yeah.
terms, and then just like shoves her away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
I got
60s
science to do, bitch.
It's like 60s
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah. Oh, they was that old.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Huh.
it's around like it's only like 5 years removed from
Yeah.
him slapping
Yeah,
Janet.
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the same era of comics. It just really stuck with Hank.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah, very toxic. So anyway, that was sort of my take on Secret Invasion. I thought that it led to a really fun run with the Dark Avengers and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like all of Bendis's stories seem to just bridge to the very next big Bendis story.
Yep.
I just
There's a
feel
lot
like
of-
there was always
there's a
a
lot of
big
that.
story
Yeah.
right after the original story.
Yeah.
But I wound up enjoying all of them anyway. So yeah. And in the reread, we'll get to the reread in a little bit, but similar feelings, but different. What did you?
When Secret Invasion first came out, I had a different letdown as far as I still liked it, but what a lot of the hype that hit with me that I took note of was there's the Super Skrull, right? And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got the powers of the Fantastic Four because the Skrull science, they gave it to him. And in some of the promo stuff, there was like different combinations
Yes.
of powers,
Yeah, yeah.
which you see for 2 or 3 pages in this. And I think there was one miniseries at the time. I, for whatever reason, thought that that's what it was going to be about.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is going to be awesome. You know, you got a Skrull with all the powers of the X-Men, somebody with some Avengers and some Spider-Man is in there.
and then
you know,
one
whatever.
with Spider-Man powers.
Yeah. And his friend, I guess, Mary Jane's ability to do like runway stuff.
yeah.
And Black Cat. But that didn't happen.
No.
And I can totally see why. The name of it is Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
A Skrull invasion where you don't know who to trust makes perfect sense as a story, but that was some of the advertisements, and I was excited for it.
Yeah,
You know.
it's all it's ASMR over here. I'm turning pages. They show up for more than that. It's the entire street
Maybe
battle
more.
is these giant super scrolls of like various powers. I love it.
Oh, that was the other problem
Yeah.
I had with it. But because it was coming out once a month and it was 8 months long with all of these other miniseries going along in between the issues, I remember picking up an issue and be like, geez, they're still in the goddamn
Savage Land.
Savage Land. Are you kidding me? How are they still in the Savage Land? Where's the story?
Because only 45 minutes passed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I had, while reading it now, I had sort of almost the opposite reaction to that, that if we can transition to our current reads of
Yeah,
it.
please.
Yeah, we went this way. Now we're gonna go this way back around.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
So I was thinking, wow, this is a great example of something that played out with more importance and depth while it was coming out in issues. And, there was some things where it was like, oh, they're already done.
Yeah.
They've done that already.
Oh, we finished that? Oh.
Yeah.
Marvel? Oh, we're
Oh,
done?
yeah.
Oh,
No, he's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it is also a great example of 2 other things that happened a lot with comics, especially at that time, is the tie-ins were a part of the story
Yes.
that we did not get. Having reread it, I remember what happened, but there was one moment in the beginning.
We should clarify. We only read the trade paperback
Right, the
collection
8
of Secret
issues.
Invasion, the main series,
Right.
which was 8 issues. Yeah.
Right. So, like, I remember what happened, but there was something, and I forget what story point it was in issue 1 or 2, and I was like, well, a lot of stuff just happened.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
And another thing, I think it exemplifies something mattering more when it's part of the current ongoing story.
Yeah.
That was a lot of the fun of it. Hawkeye, who was at that time Ronin, picking up a bow and arrow and using it.
Yeah. Big
Does
moment
not-
at the time.
Doesn't matter at all now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're like, yeah, all right, that's cool.
Why is he wearing that suit?
Right.
Yeah.
And at the time, you're like, hey, he's picking up the bow and arrow again. This is happening now.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. And that's a cool part of comics when you're like, what's up with the world now?
Also,
Yeah.
also like a lot of the tension in this entire story is predicated on the status quo after Civil War. And that's not mentioned
Right.
whatsoever here.
Yeah.
Why are there two factions of Avengers?
Sure.
Why are they
Right.
butting heads?
Is Tony Stark in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I remembered partway through that he was.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, right.
Yeah.
But, and that's not necessarily bad. Like, reading it soap operatically for what happens in the world is a fun and cool part of comics, but it does not lend itself to going back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
I-
watching episode 5 of season 1 when you're in season 3.
I completely agree with you too. Like, and the month after month of like they're still in the fucking Savage Land.
Yeah.
We only felt that because in between every issue of this were 2 to 3 issues of the Avengers that were
Right.
coming out every
that's
other week.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it was what they were doing in the Savage Land in between issues of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So even though they were only in the Savage Land for 3 issues here,
Yeah.
we felt like it was 12 to
Yeah.
13
Yeah.
because it was happening in real time for us. And I will tell you, one of the biggest things that bothered me, I love this book. I love the Avengers around it. I own it all like in separate hardcovers. There was an omnibus that came out of Secret Invasion.
Ugh.
And of all of the stories to ever be mapped in chronological order, it should be mapped in chronological order. As in
Yes.
all of the issues that happen, all of the stories that happen between issues 1 through 8 should happen in chronological order so you get the full like experience of reading it
Yeah.
over the course of like the 8 months, the
Yeah.
whole year, right?
Yeah.
Nope. It's issue 1 through 8, and then separately after issue 1 through 8, you get like New Avengers 30 to 36 and
Yep.
Mighty Avengers 1 through 7. Like,
Which means-
it's all segmented, which means if you want to read in order,
Yeah.
you literally have to go back and forth in the book
Oof.
ad nauseum over and
Yeah.
over again.
Do they
and,
even
like,
give you
map
an
it
order?
to- No.
So you have to find it yourself.
Yeah. If this,
Yeah.
like,
That
for
sucks.
all the Marvel people that are watching this, because I know you do. If you
Stanley.
reprint this omnibus
Yeah.
in chronological order,
I'll buy it.
I will literally double dip and purchase this again.
Yeah. I will single dip and purchase it for the first time.
I'm not buying either one, but I think it would be a good idea for you to do it.
Well, he's already bought 2. So I mean, he's bought one,
Right.
so he'll buy another one,
Right.
which covers you.
And I think
you're
it
good.
would be a
I
good
bought-
idea.
I didn't buy it. I bought
Yeah.
the original
And you'll buy another
hardcovers,
one.
but I will purchase an omnibus.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
never mind.
But no, I think my opinion is still, they want to hear it. I think it's a good idea for you to do
They
this.
don't want to hear
Yeah.
all opinions.
I'm
Just
I'm
the
in
good
support
one.
of this.
Just
This
good
is-
ones. Just ones that
Yeah.
translate into them making money.
That's
That's
the
the only
opinion.
opinion
That's
that
the
I care
opinion
about.
that
I was gonna,
am
I was
putting
gonna,
forth.
I was gonna seek out the Secret Avengers because I enjoyed Secret Invasion omnibus
I want a
because
Secret
I
Avengers
did enjoy
omnibus.
it, but I was also like enjoying being in that time of comic books, and I was like, man, I would actually probably grab the Secret Invasion omnibus and give that a whole read. But then he told me about the mapping, and I was like, oh, never mind. That's
wouldn't
too.
do it.
I don't want to do that.
It's not that
so,
much.
What's that?
Buy it.
Just no.
All right.
So yeah, but my reread was I think sort of similar to the original read of it. Of like none of the big reveals were really didn't really hit for me. And looking back at Lionel Francis Yu's artwork, it doesn't have the sheen that it did at the time.
Oh, interesting.
There are so many problems with the artwork in this book. The storytelling, there are times where I'm confused as to what's happening because things are happening so quickly in so many long panels. Even just a sequence of like Abigail Brand of S.W.O.R.D. Is floating around outside and then winds up inside somehow, but we're not quite sure how. She kicks open the door to get back into the satellite, even though she's in space and has no purchase to kick a thing with. It doesn't fly off. There's another sequence where there's an explosion and she's getting sucked out, but then I assume the doors wind up shutting and that seals off the so many problems with the storytelling. So many times I had to go back and be like, what just happened? What is happening right now? And then the final battle is just a bunch of fighting, and it was
It was
just
a long, yeah.
hey you, just draw a bunch of fighting, and we'll just put word bubbles on it, and that'll be that until we get to the fuck.
Final issue?
Yeah.
Well, because that takes a weird...
The Norman Osborn.
Wait,
Oh, that part.
I think I know what you're about to say.
Yeah.
This was the first time that Bendis did this, but he's done it multiple times since. This didn't bother me, but every time after this he's done it has bothered me. They do not show you... They show you the climax of the battle as someone's telling you after the fact. The 7th issue ends with a little bit of a cliffhanger of what's going to happen next, and then the next issue starts with that day was really hard, and then it's just like voiceover of what transpired with the action of what transpired.
And
so it's somebody telling you,
you don't even know who's
not
speaking.
yet. No,
they're just color coded.
Which,
green.
yeah.
Well, I didn't think that mattered. It was just somebody telling you about... I thought it was an interesting choice.
yeah, it worked.
It does. It's narratively different and interesting. It's not necessarily what I would ever pick as the best way to tell a story, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I think it like it was there was an aspect to it where it's just like, how are they going to wrap this up? And then he did it in hindsight, which I thought was kind of cool. But he's done this like 5 or 6 times since in other books, and I'm like, stop it, show don't tell. Like at this, like, you know, the rule is show don't tell, and like breaking the rule in like a creative way, awesome. Stop it. You pulled it off once. Let's not do it again, or at least wait a while. But for me, I loved the art. I still love the art. I have no issues with the storytelling. It reads very of a time, but it's my time, so I don't have a problem with it.
I have a favorite bit.
Oh, and then about the reveals.
Yeah.
I loved them.
Yeah.
I love the reveals because it's not about, for me, it's not about the biggest shock. It's about what reveals or what were the smartest choices to make, not the biggest shock. The biggest shock would be like, oh God, Tony Stark is a Skrull. The most maybe strategic would be Jarvis, the man that is around Tony Stark in the shadows
and around everybody.
So
Nobody
like,
thinks about it.
So to me, that was the shock. The not like the easy or turncoaty stuff, but like everyone's expecting this over here, and then it's really this over here.
Yeah.
And I thought that's like espionage. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Tony Stark stuff is tangentially one of the things that stood out to me the most as in 2 elements. One, he has a problem with his biology. He's sick because they have infected his armor. And I remember it being a way bigger story element. And I think that happened in another series.
Oh, yeah?
And then also him going and getting his old armor.
Yeah.
I remember that happening as like this big thing. Like I was like, all right, he's going to go get his old armor.
Yeah.
Not a big part of this story.
No.
I think it was another series. I think it was New Avengers.
You
or
might be
Mighty.
conflating the story that happens after this.
Possibly.
So, Invincible Iron Man by Matt Fraction started. Issue 1 started right before this series came out, as he was still like Shield, and then issue 8 is the beginning of Iron Man Disassembled, which is when he loses all of Shield. Like immediately after this, during that reboot, is when he starts to lose his, and I didn't realize that they tease it here. He starts to lose his intelligence, his memory. He starts, because he is updated with Extremis himself.
Yeah.
Because of that virus, it all starts to go downhill, and he has to retrograde and retrofit in all of his. He has to go backwards in all of his suits. So it's the start of that here.
And I was thinking about that too as I was reading this. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is the beginning of that really awesome Tony Stark storyline, because I love that.
It is.
Who was it? Brubaker?
No, it was Matt Fraction.
That was a
good
great
writer.
run.
Salvador LaRocca.
Ooh, LaRocca.
Doesn't
Not
hold
my
up.
favorite
He
artist.
looks like Tony Stark. The whole series looks like Sawyer from Lost.
Sawyer from Lost. That's right. That's 100%. He's not kidding.
Also, I went to check when this was, and it was around the time that the first Iron Man movie was coming out.
Yeah.
And I found myself wondering, like, how much of Tony Stark's prominence had to do with that, you know?
Well, issue number 1 of Invincible's Iron Man came out the weekend or very close to when the movie came out. Like the movie covers
Yeah.
are like the hardest ones to get. But
course.
like, yeah. Yeah, like it was timed, but
Yeah,
not
and that's
in the
when
same
Iron
way it
Man
is now. Yeah.
was, was the first time it was really cool. I feel like.
Oh, I
you
love
know?
that. Yeah, I love that
Um,
for sure.
Hey, do you remember? This is a very Bendis-y thing to do, although I didn't know that until recently. Somebody says like, well, if they wanted to kill him, they could have given him a poison matzo ball. And it's like, is that a thing that Nick Fury eats regularly, or whoever it was? Like,
It was Tony.
Right? Does Tony Stark eat matzo
Matzo balls?
balls?
Is Tony Stark Jewish?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, Bendis has a tendency to write a lot of people Jewish.
Oh, I understand that.
I
I'm
guess
just
so.
I'm asking.
Even
is it, like
I am Jewish.
Stark is.
and I don't eat matzo balls except for during Passover.
Yeah.
I know some Jewish people do.
Who's saying it to them
I forget.
in your matzo? Because I remember the line.
Yeah.
It's like they could have poisoned your matzo ball soup last
Right,
night.
right.
So is it the joke teller or the joke?
I
receiver?
thought I had taken a picture of it, and I guess I didn't. But I
Well, while you guys
Yeah.
are looking,
yeah. What are you going to talk about?
one of the things I actually did appreciate this time, as much as I did at the time, was Brian Michael Bendis's humor. There's a bunch of times during this that I was like, oh, that's a good bit. That's a good line. I really like that. So I'm still enjoying Brian Michael Bendis's dialogue. The one that really sticks out to me is they're in the middle of this big kerfuffle, and they're having fisticuffs and what have you. And Spider-Man's there, and he goes, "Don't worry about it. We're fine. We're gonna get through this. It's okay. It's not a big deal." And the person he's talking to is like, "How do you know that?" Because anytime something huge and ridiculous is happening, the Watcher shows up and just watches, and it's super creepy, and that's how we know that we're probably in trouble. So he's not here, so oh fuck, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is, and there's a big splash page
That
of
was
just
cool.
the Watcher watching the giant battle, and he's like, "Damn it!"
And I sent you guys a screenshot of this earlier today because I was reading it before the show. There's a when they finally get in the Quinjet out of the Savage Land, and Tony is just like reading himself the riot and like how much he failed in shame and whatnot. And someone starts to give him kind of like a "don't blame yourself," and Spider-Man of all people is like, no.
This is good. Let him have it.
Yeah, guilt is good. Let him go.
yeah.
And then basically Wolverine behind him goes, "Yeah, let him cook."
He's getting his second wind.
Yeah, let him cook.
yeah.
It's fine. And they were both right because immediately after he, gets a second
He
wind and
starts
goes
to,
into
and then
into zone.
Spider-Man is in the background going, "See, there he goes."
Yeah, it was just like such a
That is a
really
good
good
bit.
character interaction, and
Yeah.
it's the kind of confidence about knowing the character so well
Yeah.
that you can pull shit like that off.
Yeah.
And the scene you're talking about,
Yes. Who says it?
they're killing them, or they could have killed you with a poison matzo ball before you went to bed. They're killing themselves just to get to you, and that's from Natasha.
Yeah.
Natasha tells Tony.
Who is not somebody that I expect to use a matzo ball reference either.
Natasha Romanoff? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, I liked how she just shot everybody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know who's a scroll. Everyone's getting bullets.
Oh, also, Bucky calls her Natalia at one point,
Oh.
which I thought was weird, and then looked up that her name is like Natalia Natasha
Yeah.
Romanoff.
Yeah.
I didn't
And-
know that. I forgot.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's what she was, because they retconned in World War II past for her a long time ago, and maybe they knew each other, and maybe she was going
They
by
did.
Natalia at the time.
They retconned in his
Yeah.
experience as a Winter Soldier with her
Yeah.
at the Red Room. So,
Right,
like, they
right.
actually had a relationship we've never seen.
Was she going by Natalia back then?
I don't remember.
Oh,
And,
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Only
Definitely.
because the characters
Does
identify it as
imply
such.
that.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
let's go with yes.
No, it's solid.
Do you have any final wrap-up thoughts on the comic book series?
Normal, I would say, right? This was not like a wow kind of event. It was great while it happened. There's nothing to recommend it over any other Marvel event,
Right.
even within the era that you were talking about, which is some of, I think, the greatest stuff. Like, I'd read New Avengers before this, if I was to read only one thing.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, I think as much as I love this event, I do think it's a time and a place with the context of the other books.
Yeah.
I was feeling the same thing you were feeling, which was, boy, I wish there was a lot more in here. Just reading the 8-issue main series, Secret Invasion, I think is not enough. There needs to be a collection that you don't have to have the omnibus. You don't have to have the whole, 2-year event, but
Selected.
I think you
Yeah.
can get away with just the Avengers issues, because both Avengers and Mighty Avengers, Bendis was writing 5 books a month
Yeah,
at this time,
nuts.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so it was New Avengers, Mighty Avengers, this, and then Ultimate Spider-Man and something else. But yeah, I think you can get away with reading the Avengers books in between to be enough. Everything else after that is just like scene dressing.
Yeah.
You know, like, is the story of the Punisher starting a crew to kill a bunch of Skrulls
The
cool?
Skrull Kill Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great book.
Yeah.
It's not important.
I remember that showing up in this story.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
But just in general, like, there are a lot of really great tie-ins.
Yeah.
The only ones that truly matter plot-wise are basically the Avengers books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see them package it all together. Like, hey, give me like a soft cover, 15 issue.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like
it's
an epic.
It's like
An epic.
there's like 7 issues of New Avengers and like 6 issues of Mighty Avengers that tie into this. So yeah, it'd be like 20 issues, 22 issues.
Another problem I had with this was you've got Clint seeing Mockingbird for the first time after she's been dead for years.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a whole scene together, and he tests her. The only way that anyone would ever know this is if you are my wife.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to have a baby, and it didn't work out. What is the what was the significance of this date? Oh, it's when we tried to have a baby and it didn't work out. Oh, this has to be her, 100%. No one else would know this. Oopsie, she's a Skrull. And
Good
then
scene.
what?
It was a good scene.
It was a good
They
scene.
hinted at how it happened,
But then,
and I think we may have seen it elsewhere.
well, no.
Yeah.
But my problem with that is after that,
Mm-hmm.
and he's enraged, and starts murdering everybody. Scrolls. Not just everybody.
not everybody.
Not just priests and yeah.
You go find me a priest. Kill him.
But then Mockingbird the real Mockingbird supposedly comes out at the end, and he's like,
Right.
"Ah, yes." It's like you just jump like. I would have liked. I think my preference for that scene would have been for him to walk away from her.
No, I'd make out with her.
I
think
was
I-
gonna
I'd be
say
like,
like
this is great.
I have no issue with that because
Yeah.
they set up so many things in the interim for him to believe that it's really her and it was really her. So like I didn't have a problem with it.
I just
If anything,
think
it was
having my
Hold that
heart.
rewarding
against
after
her,
the heart.
right?
Well, not
Yeah.
her, but like him not
So-
being able to trust somebody after all of that 2 issues beforehand.
But
Sure.
but it wasn't just it was. I mean, it was 2 issues beforehand for us, but it was like it was a lot of experience in between and. Reed Richards tech where they couldn't shapeshift anymore, and they came directly from the imprison and all the other survivors there, and the knowledge knowing that they needed the hosts alive in order to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It was like enough contextual information for him to like finally let go and be like, oh my god, this is actually my wife. I did get something back that I thought I lost again.
Yeah.
I had no problem with that.
Yeah, like
Okay.
if somebody offered you something like, lightly analogously, like here's $100 million, and then you find out it's not real, but then someone gives you $100 million, you'd still be happy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet, the thing
Once
that I
I-
wanted.
Once I spend it and realize it's real, yeah.
Well, they get to know each other.
All
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
all right.
And if it's a
What are you
scroll,
saying?
it worked with, I'm talking about intimate relationship, emotional connection, and sex.
I've never had it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you
I hear
remember
it's good.
It's
I saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Mhm.
Secret
And is that
Invasion
what
on
you've
Disney
been
Plus,
substituting?
episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's the show. Episodes, yes. So Nully D is actually in there being like, episode 2 aired already. I might
did
have to go
today.
watch that. So Nully may not be with us anymore. They may be watching episode 2, which dropped today. Eddie Madison said, I have seen 2 episodes of Secret Invasion so far. Our son, the voice of reason, we miss you. Says Norman Osborn getting put in charge was some wild shit.
that was some
It
wild
was.
shit.
It was
Yeah.
wild shit. All right. Disney Plus. This is a new show. Was it 6 episodes?
Yes, 6-episode event.
Starring Samuel L. Jackson, Amelia Clark, Sasha Cal. Oh, Sasha Cal?
No.
What?
Oops. Just
No.
keep going.
Oh,
That's from
Ben.
last week.
That's from last week.
Or
Ben,
just keep going.
Ben Mendelsohn and Olivia Colman. Nick Fury learns of a secret invasion. That's the name of the show.
Oh.
Of Earth by a faction
Oh.
of shape-shifting Skrulls. Fury joins his allies, and together they race against time to thwart an imminent Skrull invasion and save humanity. So yeah, we watched the first 2 episodes.
Spoilers or no
watched-
spoilers?
Oh shoot, no spoilers because it dropped today.
For the
Unless we
second
want to
one.
do spoilers at the end.
Make the decision.
Yeah. Let's
We're
talk
gonna
about
start
the
with
first
no
one and then the
spoilers.
second
Yeah. I had the same problem with Secret Invasion episode 1 that I had with Secret Invasion the series of like, ooh, I wonder if there's gonna be a big reveal. No, not really. Okay, that's fine. I will say that the second episode is so much better than the first episode. The second episode, I'm all in. I'm 100% in. What did you think? No.
I love the first episode, and I love the second episode even more. I think there's been some bitching. Shock of all shocks, there's been some bitching online.
About the AI?
No, I don't. I don't care to talk about that.
I'm interested in that. If people want to talk about it.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in it. But
I am not.
Are we?
I have an interesting perspective on that. That we have done that before. Like when the first textile machines came out, people went into the factories and smashed them up because they would be taking from the textile workers.
Yeah.
And those people are called Luddites, which is now a synonym for anti-technology. I think we did it with the John Henry with the steam train, right? Anytime a technology takes over something from human workers, people complain. And I think a lot of the problems that we have with AI now are problems that we have with credit and money. And those are problems with the way that companies run and the way that business runs, not with the technology. I'm very in favor of advancing our technology in any way that does not hurt people. I think.
Well, I mean, the AI is specifically stealing artwork from people who have worked hard and have trained their lives to become artists, and it just takes them and mushes them together.
This is the problem with credit and money.
Yeah, that's it's not. Those that are not against, just apprehensive of AI art or AI generated art or creative, are not against technology.
Right.
They are against the lack of compensation for those that have their art repurposed and reutilized without permission and or compensation. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I use technology to make my art. I draw everything on this nowadays.
But that always happens. People are always comfortable with the technology that was around when they were forming, when they were growing up, and then often have a problem with, what is happening with newer stuff, right? We also use self-checkout machines, and projectionists are no longer a thing. That's digital. I think we're not saying dissimilar things. Like the problem is credit and money, right? And maybe you shouldn't be allowed to do something in the style of this guy, right? Like I want to do a Wes Anderson thing or whatever.
Which is what people are literally doing right
Sure.
now.
So that's taking that person and remaking their thing. Maybe that should not be, or if you sell that, you have to give them credit or
it
whatever.
takes from many people and many things to create a different thing without those people's permission from their own intellectual property.
True.
So I think AI is cool, but I don't think that it should be used or proliferated by on such a large platform without compensating artists that it leverages.
I agree.
That's
like that should be worked into it.
Great. This instance of it being a Disney Plus Marvel show shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Because of the large platform, how they could have done it differently, and or even the story reason for it. I totally get the idea of an uncanny valley and the facsimile of and AI art and the theme of the show of you don't know what's real and what's not. Get it. Awesome. Good idea. But ideating beyond that being, many millions of people are going to watch this, and we're proliferating a technology that hurts creatives that we are currently out of production for because they're on strike in order to get compensation.
That's true too. That's another problem.
These are all...
Right? The money is always the fact that we need to make money to do what we love is the issue, right? And credit should be due also. I do like the idea of AI where somebody who isn't good at creating a visual image but has an idea in their head
should
put it out
hire
there.
an artist.
Wait, whoa,
so that's where I disagree. Is that
I kind of disagree with that also. If I just want like a mood board to articulate to somebody that I'm going to hire, why can't I use AI to generate something like that?
Oh no,
That's
I'm
just what
talking
he's
about
saying.
final image.
Okay,
if you
so
want to
then
create it, I cannot get
unless the system compensates the art that's being leveraged. No,
sure. If credit and money again,
sure.
If that's being taken into account, sure, and maybe that would be if you're replicating somebody's style, but not if you're just taking.
I think that the problem we're having is like I'm not against automation, but automation that actively steals from people without compensating is a problem. And
I'm
that's
not
currently where
sure-
we are.
I'm not sure that I view all of it as stealing.
But it is.
But
I'm
that's
not
all it is.
It's machine learning
taking-
based off of other people's intellectual property.
Yeah.
Stealing.
Right. It's machine learning based off of that, right? So if
And
you,
also creating.
yeah,
It's just mushing all these things together. I had seen a post and I shared it. It was like you could see it was making facsimiles of artists' signatures
Mhm.
because they were stealing so much art from artists with signatures that you could see an amalgamation of a signature on the corner because it's of what they stole. So
that's interesting, but I'm not sure that I see that as stealing because you're writing a program that is taking input from things. Like, let's say the money wasn't a part of it and you could give credit to them. You could say, like, this
It's
person.
not zeros and ones, though, Brian.
Yeah.
It's people's livelihoods that it's repurposing.
Right. That's why I
In
said,
this
let's take the
instance.
money and credit out of
But
it.
you
and
can't
just,
take the money and credit out. Like,
But that's the
technology is
issue.
fantastic. The issue is the fact
Right.
that it doesn't have any kind of monetary model attached to it in order to make sure that it is ethical.
Yeah.
That's it. In these purposes, in the purposes of broadcasting creative
Mhm.
endeavors, it doesn't have a financial model to support those that make a living off of creating.
So if,
Yeah.
like, as an intellectual exercise, if you trained an AI only on Getty images,
Yeah.
right, and those
Sure.
images are stock, that's their whole entire purpose, and have been sold as such, that would be fine.
Yes, I actually think that's fine because
Yes.
all of those artists that took
Yeah,
those
yeah.
pictures sold those pictures
Right.
to be repurposed in whatever.
Okay, great.
wanted to be
No, I
repurposed.
agree with that as well.
But it's not working that way right now, and
No, I
that's
know.
the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I know. But I don't think that you should say instead of using this, you should have to pay somebody to do it. If you're using, well, like what you had said, JD, is
Yeah.
like
Hire somebody.
if you have an idea, hire an artist.
Yeah.
That's just relying on the old ways of doing things, right? Like, it's good. I want you and everybody else who wants to be an artist to be able to live only doing art. I mean, I also want that of anyone who isn't commercially successful. You know what I mean? But I don't think that we can limit our productivity based on this is how it's always been done. This would take a job away from somebody else. You know, nobody is owed that, right?
Right, but and again, it goes back to, you know, people are putting out children's books by feeding into AI a bunch of other people's children's books who have worked hard, and now they're just making AI children's books.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the decisive factor is the Getty Images model.
Sure,
right.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you've said, I'm going to put my art out there, I will be compensated in this way,
Yeah.
then the making of it
A
is
fair-
not unethical.
A fair compensation model based off of selling a product that was AI generated is actually what everyone just wants.
Yeah.
All of the WGA, SAG, DJ, all they want is a compensation model based off of streaming and or AI generated
yeah.
edits or
Yeah.
products. Yeah, that's literally the problem. Not
Sure.
the only problem that, like, it's not about the technology, it's about the
Abuse of it so far.
use. the money-related reasons.
industrial or the
Yeah.
industry abusing
Yeah.
the technology in order to not compensate.
Of which this
creatives.
is not even the only example.
Yeah,
You know,
of
we
course
live
not,
in a
yeah.
society where you can't just do things because they are worthwhile and good. You have to make money from them. You know?
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
You didn't want to talk about the AI. What were
Yeah,
you leading into that was not
Other
AI?
people talk first. I lost all my thoughts.
Oh, okay. What did you think of the TV show?
I thought it was all
Secret
right.
Invasion? Yeah.
You know, it was another Marvel show.
Yeah.
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
It's true.
It was good. Samuel L. Jackson is good, so
Yeah.
watching him is good. Ben Mendelsohn is good,
Ugh.
so watching him is good.
I wish we had more Ben Mendelsohn so far.
Yeah.
I'm on board for Ben Mendelsohn.
He's a good name to say too.
Yeah, it's fun.
right? It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
You got the double N
Yeah,
in there.
it's good.
So, yeah, I thought it was fine. I am artistically disappointed in stories anymore that kill off a character that someone else created because
Are we spoiling?
well, it's episode 1. I thought we were going to talk about episode 1 fully and not spoil episode 2.
I didn't know that, but go on.
Oh, okay. We don't have to.
Well, someone dies.
Someone dies.
So, actually, a couple people die.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what's happening.
the first death is a red herring, I think, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Go
do we
on.
think?
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Ed
Okay.
Herring would be a good name.
Well,
for
because
a
they
character.
they
Yeah.
establish what happens to those that are taken, or
Oh, do they?
yeah,
Oh,
do
I
you, what, do
missed
you guys
that.
not watch shows? Yeah, like
Those-
they're put in
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stasis of sorts. These
Yeah.
people aren't dead that they take over.
I think it's a mind
Oh, I
ready.
missed that.
It's a mind ready thing.
yeah,
I think,
and
right?
they're put in
Yeah.
like a what?
Oh no, I do remember this now.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there you go,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There I am.
There it is.
Here I am.
Yeah,
I'm back on board.
The first one is a
Oh, shit.
red
Like a
herring. I don't think
hurricane.
it's a scroll died.
Interesting. Okay, I forgot that bit.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Are we spoiling this or no? Episode 1.
I don't care.
Oh my god.
All right. All right. Noel's on board.
Okay.
So
He gives me my your full cooperation and permission.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
he demands you spoil it.
Neutrality is
Maria Hill was killed.
Oh my
Yes.
god. I
And
wasn't even talking about Maria Hill, but yeah.
I was.
Yeah, he was.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just tired of it. It's
Fridging?
lazy, that too, but I mean just when you take a character and you kill them off and somebody else built that character up,
Oh, wait a minute.
it's not
Uh-huh.
like
What?
that can't ever be good.
What does that mean? Explain that.
So
Someone else
I'm
built
having
them up.
trouble.
killed a character because it's shocking when you kill a character.
Uh-huh.
And it's more shocking when that character has existed for a while.
Okay.
And you wouldn't think that it would happen, right?
Mhm.
Um,
I'm not tracking this as a problem yet.
like
Yeah, why is
Tom
it-
Kingery is what I see it as, right? Which you guys like, but I don't like.
Uh-huh.
Well,
That
who did Tom King kill?
no, he just takes stuff that was created before, and the interesting thing is subverting it or destroying it, you know? And I kind of felt that way about what's her
Kobe
name?
Smulders.
Yeah, Maria Hill. Not in a serious way, but it was like, oh, yeah, you got a dramatic wham out of that
So wait a
because
minute.
she already existed as a character.
So wait. Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. It sounds like you're
Yeah.
saying you can only kill off characters that you have created and
No.
introduced?
No. He's talking about to paraphrase.
Yeah.
That you may think it's cheap because
Yeah.
they are a recognizable character in this universe.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Which-
not that you can't do it.
I don't.
It's just like,
I don't inherently agree with because
Yeah, no.
the
you want
way
to have
it
an
ha-
emotional tie to the.
yeah, it was an emotional tie.
Yeah.
And first of all, we have seen the first
Oh,
half
sure.
of Act 1.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So as to its effects on the rest of the story, even its effects on episode 2 were very, very rewarding for me as a
Yeah.
viewer.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. Like
There's fallout.
and there's not even that
Hmm.
there's fallout. There's character growth from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of people I've never even met before.
The woman from Ted Lasso, I think, plays Rebecca's mom. It also plays Maria Hill's mom.
No,
No.
No?
no.
She's also in Silo?
Yeah, she's in Silo, but
yeah.
that's not her.
Is that not the same
That was
woman?
not her.
No.
I'm looking it up, but let's
She was
continue.
in Silo and
Yeah.
Ted Lasso, but not this.
Oh, is that not her in this?
That's not her in this.
Oh, interesting. She looks
I
very
don't know what's
similar.
happening right now.
It's okay.
I'd like we can make a case for it being fridging based off episode 1 alone.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
after that, it's
I don't think
all-
every female death is
histrionic.
fridging.
Oh, no.
Yet I feel like
No, no,
this
no.
does feel a little fridgy because it even say they killed her to get to me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you just said she was fridged.
The
Which
story,
is also
the story,
something that would suck.
Yeah.
the story
and
and the
be
characters,
dramatically,
the story and the characters
you know.
are very self-aware as to the setup and
Yeah.
what happened. You can only get to Nick Fury, and honestly, episode 2 makes that even more clear. The things that we don't know about him,
Mhm.
you can only get to Nick Fury like 2 ways,
Yeah.
and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was satisfying,
Mhm.
in so much that it bothered the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I watch a lot of espionage movies. I watch a lot of spy things. This is kind of par of the course.
Yeah.
Like you've got a character that is like with them at the beginning of Bourne
Hmm.
Identity, and then
Yeah.
by Bourne Ultimatum, they're on the chopping block. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a trope
Yeah.
of the genre,
Mm.
especially like the person in the chair.
Mm.
It is
Yeah.
a trope of the genre that, part 6
That dude gets it.
they usually get it.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue that I have with it. Is not
The trope?
any issue inherent to itself. It's that it seems lazy because it just seems to happen a lot now.
Mm.
Just in general, killing a character for like
What's lazy? What's a pastiche? If we're talking about this genre
Indeed.
specific, it's a little bit more of a pastiche than lazy so far.
Yeah.
It might prove to
Yeah.
be lazy, but
I guess it's just however it strikes you,
Yeah.
right? When you're experiencing it, that you're like, oh, that was something, or like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, yeah.
A customer was in talking to me about it today, and they were talking about Maria Hill's death, and I was like, well, that's even if it was her, and they go, oh, I didn't even think.
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
for sure.
it's her.
Oh, I didn't know if that was her.
I think
'cause
she's
she had
dead,
red
dead.
blood?
She had red blood.
Yeah.
There's no LMDs, and don't even talk about Agents of Shield. There's no LMDs here,
Okay.
and she had red blood. They established that anytime a Skrull is in peril, separated from its body and or dead, it reverts back.
Okay.
They do. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some way out of it, but I don't think so either.
Also, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think she's. I think she's dead skis. But then again, they pull her away. They pull him away.
Before
But she's dead skis. She dies in his
See,
arms.
he's not thinking. He's not sure.
And I
You're mostly sure.
I think she should be dead.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for the story, she should be dead. If they're
Okay.
gonna pull the trigger, it should.
If they
stay
had had a
pulled.
1-800
Dylan's
call-in
crying
number
back
before,
there. Are you okay,
You
buddy?
crying, buddy?
Oh, it sounded like you were sniffling.
I think
Maria
they
Hill.
should-
Similar.
I was laughing
Sometimes I
at
cry
the-
when I laugh very hard.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, I
Water
know
will
you
come
do.
out of
It's
it.
true.
Just comes out of my eyes.
She's dead skis.
She dead skis.
Mhm.
All right. So episode 1, I think, was solid. It was off to a good part. My favorite. I'm getting gummed up. My favorite character. What is her name? Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
Who is she playing? Who is that
don't know.
character?
Is she the spy master?
Yeah.
Is that Olivia Colman?
She
Yeah.
is wonderful. I am here all day for Olivia Colman. I love her so much, and she is having such a blast with this role in just 2 episodes. She is stealing the show for me. Amelia Clarke is like, oh, okay, she's cool that she's there, but Olivia Colman, man, she gets me coming back. She's one of those actresses that if she shows up in something, I will go watch it. I love her so much.
Sonia Fallsworth.
No idea who that is.
That's the name of her character?
Yeah.
Oh. See,
Yeah.
I think she's good, but again, I was a little like, oh, she's like violent but cutesy. I've seen it. I've seen that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is
I
this
don't
why you don't
know.
watch things?
No, I liked it. I'm going to keep watching it. But those 2 things were something that struck me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you think that episode 2 was better than episode 1?
No, I thought they were about the same.
About the same?
I enjoyed both of them, though. Here's the thing. In contrast to the comics, this time I'm going in with the supposition this is going to be a story about replacing people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's what the deal is. So that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, that's what I lost when we started talking about AI. The bitching online is not about AI. I don't care. Is about it was so much better in the comics because it was superheroes that were being replaced and like people that could be real threats that were
this
being
was
replaced.
more interesting.
And I was
Yeah.
like, one, I don't need my adaptations to be fucking carbon copies.
Yeah.
And 2, yeah, do something different and turn it into like a more espionage. Who is really real, like actual people. They've been here for 30 years. You don't know. Hell, in episode 2, we learned just the magnitude
Mhm.
Yeah.
that we weren't aware of before. Yeah,
Even Nick Fury is like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
that was wonderful too. Like,
oh golly.
we don't even get along with ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Yeah.
That was a good line.
It was
I
good.
like that.
That whole
Yeah.
scene is the first time that I think that that actor showed up. I didn't like Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, really?
Like where I was like, there he is. There's
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy.
Huh.
He's been good and like episode 2, awesome.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
his conversation with Maria Hill's mom,
Mm-hmm.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. And then the train.
The
and
train
ev-
was my
and
favorite,
the
yeah.
conversation with Rhodey. Fucking
good, too.
awesome.
Yeah.
Rhodey's got, oh man, I was clapping for Rhodey. I was like, all right, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of people online that are just like, that's out of character. I bet he's a Skrull. I'm like, 1, maybe he is. 2, I don't know if it's out of character for Rhodey.
No. No,
Although
no.
I disagreed with her. I was like, this guy's Nick, he was obviously trying to stop.
Yeah.
Like, he did not cause this bomb to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you so upset with him because of
Yeah.
this? But the interesting element of fury that they're layering in is he disappeared.
Yeah.
And maybe that has something to do with.
Mhm.
Maybe that's really
a
why
little
he's
bit of
upset with.
a bit of
Yeah,
tension there.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
also, too, like, Rhodey's never, I mean, he's a military man, but
Mhm.
he's been the victim of just following orders and
Yeah.
one-man shows that are,
Mhm.
like he literally lost the use of his legs because of a situation like that. So would he just immediately trust, oh, Nick Fury's going to take care of all this
Right.
for us, end of the world stuff? Yeah. Like, no,
Mhm.
you're fired.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And then he pulls the race card on him.
Yeah.
You know, Samuel,
Yeah.
Fury pulls the race car, like help a brother out, and that I love that really set him off even more. Yeah. Our son says in the comics, I think the Fallsworths were part of the Union Jack legacy.
Interesting.
Let's find out. Carry on.
Union Jack. Brody had a cool
thank you, our
tie
son.
in that. I was looking at
Had a
that
cool
tie. It was a cool tie. It was an interesting, shimmery.
I did not notice the tie.
I noticed that tie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. But yeah, I think this is doing what I wanted after watching Randy's favorite sequel, Captain America: Winter Soldier, which is more spycraft Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that this is just a spycraft show.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe. I don't need all the superheroes. And I love their reasoning for not bringing in the Avengers.
Right.
Because they like, hey, shouldn't we bring in the blah, blah, blah? And they're like, why would we give them bigger, what's the word? Targets.
Right. They're going to copy them, make them look bad. Everything will be
even worse. So I love that this is like a smaller story.
Yeah.
Randy, yes. James Montgomery Fallsworth is Union Jack in the Marvel in this Earth 616 Marvel universe. James Montgomery Fallsworth has been in the MCU before as one of the Howling Commandos in World War II.
Oh, interesting.
So this is probably a descendant of, like the daughter of, or the granddaughter of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how the numbers work. Probably granddaughter of the original James Montgomery Fallsworth, who worked with Captain America.
Nice.
We're gonna get into spoilers for episode 2 that just dropped today because I have a question. Spoiler alert. What is it? Fallsworth tortures that guy with the injection. Wonderful scene. And then she sort of shimmies her way out of the tunnel. Can Skrulls not take the form of other things that aren't humans?
No. Wait, yes.
Like rats?
In comics, yes. In movies, no.
Or even slightly smaller humans that could easily fit down that grate that she didn't close.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was like, why isn't someone turning into something and just skittering after her quickly?
Right.
I don't think it wasn't an issue of the hole's too small. He just didn't go after her.
Why?
Yeah.
don't
And
know.
why didn't she close that grate?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
this is our secret exit.
I mean, you knocked the man over and shit. Why bother? I don't know.
I just so that they wouldn't follow her. But I guess she knew that they wouldn't.
Yeah,
So
it's like, oh, I
it
hope
was
they don't
fine.
follow me. Oh, nailed it. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, just turn into something and get after her. What are you guys doing? Are you just going to chill there? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because you need to wait until I get to her later, I guess? Sure.
Maybe she's a Skrull.
Also, like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know,
Probably
maybe In and Out had to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe.
no late chase because she's a, spy master.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's
I
true.
don't
She
know.
got in that
She's-
door. That was a cool line.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the door's locked. It's like, no, it's not. What does
Yeah.
that tell you about me and doors?
So good.
Yeah.
What a good line. And I love her. I just love watching
She's
her.
good.
Yeah.
The reveal was very interesting and cool and satisfying of who's a Skrull. That council,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because you see them beforehand.
Yeah.
They seem like they're talking heads or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they all show up. They're in this.
Yeah, in hindsight, it's just
cabal.
like, duh. But
Yeah.
watching it, you're just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
on.
What,
It's shorthand. That's quick.
to go back to the comic book, which sort of ties in right here, I love that when the Skrulls announce themselves to Earth via all of our telecommunications, they use the faces of Tom Cruise, Obama,
Paris Hilton.
Paris, yeah.
Stephen Colbert. Oprah.
Yeah. I love that bit, which would be fun to emulate here if they ever reveal themselves to the world.
Yeah.
All million of them.
Do you think Paris Hilton's available?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Probably.
Maybe just her dog.
Did you have any problems? You seem to be really on board.
No,
Did you have
I
any-
loved it. I loved
It's what?
episode 2 was. This might be the best show so far.
Oh, you think so?
No, you know what? I don't know. It's hard to say because it's something completely
WandaVision.
different.
Loki.
Oh, it's better than
Loki.
WandaVision. I think it's better than Loki.
Really?
So
Is
far.
it because you like espionage better than those things?
No,
Or because
no.
it's just
WandaVision kind of fell apart at the end, so like it's just hard to say. WandaVision did fall apart at the end.
Oh, I
for
thought
me,
WandaVision got really good at the end and was like so before that.
when it abandoned its conceit.
Hmm.
Oh, that's when I started to get really. I was getting bored by the. Oh, I get it. It's a sitcom,
Yeah.
different era.
Plus, I like
sitcom.
that vision conversation.
That was
like,
good.
Made
Oh,
the
that
show
was
for me.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't like it. It didn't. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite, I think, is I guess maybe She-Hulk and Miss Marvel are tied because they're the most unlike the other shows. The other shows are just like point and click kind of.
Following those characters in a new medium,
A little bit,
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, these actually felt like new experiences, and this is somewhere in between. Like it feels like a new experience with familiar pieces of the Marvel universe.
WandaVision for me felt like a new experience for sure. But yeah.
I feel like there were
was
one
hard.
or two that were really good in the early stuff that
Yeah.
I'm forgetting.
Well, I
about.
liked. I have, first of all, I haven't disliked any of them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I liked half of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think they sort of the idea of people after the blip coming back and being homeless
Refugees. Yeah, it was
refugees.
good.
I thought, well, neat idea. But I think the storyline around them, I was just sort of like, okay, all right, can we just?
Well, they did have to cut a lot of their story,
Right,
unfortunately.
right, because
for
it,
them, yeah.
it had to do with the pandemic, didn't it?
Yeah, there was a pandemic,
Yeah.
and they decided to remove that
From the storyline.
narrative,
Yeah,
from
I
the
would
story.
like to eventually go back and see if
Maybe
we
they
could
will.
watch like an unedited version.
Yeah.
After everyone's
Right, when
after
time.
it's a little
Yeah.
healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
Oh, it's
Falcon
fine.
and Winter Soldier had a pandemic plot line before the pandemic happened, and then as it was coming out, they rejiggered it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, a lot of it, like a lot of the motivations of the group involved were based on that having happened, and
Yeah.
they decided to remove that because when it was actually coming out
Too
was
real,
in
yeah.
2021, I think.
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's off to a really good start. I don't know if it's my favorite yet, but after episode 2, I am 100% like looking forward. It's must see TV now.
It gives me Andor feels. Like it's all the things are getting set up to be just like, please pull off the end.
Yeah.
Well, a similar parallel to Andor, I think this one feels like one of the more solid and potent MCU TV stories. Just like Andor feels, they feel the most like the movies or like something that's really part of that universe. There's other Marvel shows that do as well, but this one really does.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. I mean, last words.
Fury's wife.
Fury's wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two ways to look at this: the finale of the episode, the final scene. I'm not 100% sure that that's a secret.
The wife part or the Skrull wife
we
part?
see her chopping, right, and she's a Skrull, and then
Yeah.
he comes in, and she is a human woman, and he gives her a kiss, and that's the end of the episode. I'm not entirely sure that he doesn't know she's a Skrull.
Oh, I
Wait,
assumed
that's-
that she did. That
yeah,
he
that,
did.
you too?
I
That's
did.
just that. Yeah, that's not a secret.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
just to tell the audience. So that's the same scroll that brought him Gravik when 25 years ago or 30 years ago.
Okay.
He's
That
known
was
her,
her?
for
Thank
30
you.
years.
Thank you. Because
Yeah.
Sushan was like, oh, thinking that was the reveal of like
No.
he doesn't know he's married to a Skrull, and I was like, oh no, I think it's that like he's been working with these people so long that it's completely viable that he
oh,
would
yeah.
fall in
He's-
love with one of them.
He's
But
gone
she's-
native.
Yeah.
Constantly like,
Yeah,
go back
yeah.
on my planet. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, in my hometown.
This it complicates his investment in the story
Yeah.
because he's been
Yeah.
married to one
Oh,
for how
okay,
long?
good.
Yeah.
I thought I was
That
the
was
only one
defi-
thinking this. This is
No,
great.
no.
I later read an article saying like, oh, it could be that he knows. And I was like,
He does
oh, I
know,
didn't
dude.
realize that
That
you would
this
have
was-
thought anything
yeah.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, and also too. So his interactions with Skrulls in the last two in the first episode too, I immediately found it weird that he was so incredibly like this motherfucker doesn't even shake hands, but he's touching everyone's head as though he is
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's been married into the culture for the last God knows however many
Makes
decades,
sense.
it all makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And why the betrayal of him would feel so fucking deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
And apparently, in one of the earlier movies in the Marvel sequence, he mentions a wife, and people have thought of that as a dangling plot thread for some time.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it was just an offhand lie at the time, or maybe it's this wife.
Do you know where?
I think it was in Winter Soldier.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can find the. I'll send it to you, and if we deem it interesting enough, we can bring it up next week.
I am hoping for a sequence because they are doing flashbacks. I'm hoping for a sequence where they show us Fury responding to the blip because one of the big plot points here is that he disappeared. He was unable to process it correctly. Maybe I'm not 100% sure
Yeah.
what effect it had on him that he
Yeah.
went and disappeared, and then as soon as he came back, he went up to space.
Yeah.
So I would like them to delve into that a little bit more. I would like an answer to that, and I think it would give Samuel L. Jackson some meat to work with.
I mean, I don't know that this is where they'll go, but just a man who has striven for and felt some comfort in his great measure of control.
Yeah.
Being confronted with something that there was no way for him to prevent. Everything that he worked for meant nothing in the face of this threat is an interesting story point. I don't know that it fits into this story that they're telling, but it certainly is something that I would like to watch.
Nick Fury Christmas special.
Yes, and he sees like 5 or 6 ghosts. And they tell him different things about.
7 ghosts.
You want 7 ghosts,
7 ghosts.
including Jacob Marley.
That's
one of the ghosts.
All right. R Moon is in the chat saying better sequels: Godfather 2, Captain America 2. So
that
R
was
Moon,
Randy's.
Randy was the one who came up with Winter Soldier. We all agree. We concur, Doctor.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. Godfather 2 also very good. All right. Did you look up something good?
Her name is Priscilla.
The wife.
The wife.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And this article is like, he may not know. Like, I don't think like that's not.
That's not
Sometimes I think some people are given a thing that they need to write about, and then they find something
stuff
that
to
they
write
can
about.
say. I did it myself in high school many, many times.
I would be absolutely like. I think that was just for the audience. I would be straight fucking shocked if that's a plot point that he doesn't know his wife is a Skrull.
Yeah.
Like he literally shared a scene with her as a Skrull earlier in the show.
She was relaxedly in their kitchen. I agree. That was them just. Oh, remember he's in with the Skrulls.
Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody watching, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and tell us what you think of Secret Invasion, the comic book, and the TV show.
Oh, and the miniseries with the same name that came out by Ryan North last year. It's really good.
Oh, right. There was another Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Miniseries.
It was Maria Hill starring joint.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Was it good?
Hey, you guys!
Hey.
There was a bit of news that I'm very excited about.
Oh, that's right.
The casting?
casting.
The casting.
Yes.
Wait, should we wait for Randy?
We should probably wait for Randy.
All right. Next week, we're going to talk about the casting of Superman and Lois Lane that I'm super into.
Yeah. I'm super into half of it.
I'm super into all of it. I think it's great.
I don't know who that is.
I don't care. It's great.
Okay,
I'm already super into half of it, and what I've seen of the other half is like, I'm super into that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will talk at you later. Did it.